I was going to do John Carmody. So if you want to do, oh no, yeah. So you can, okay,
So
perfect.
after you're done, I
Yep.
can stick that in there, and I'll just roll to John, and then
Perfect.
work back and forth.
Perfect. Good afternoon. Welcome and welcome back to MSU for homecoming weekend. We are excited to see so many people here to help us celebrate our Academy of Distinguished Alumni. Each year, the Norm Asbjornson College of Engineering honors a select group of alumni who have distinguished themselves professionally and have a record of exemplary service to the community and/or Montana State University. These individuals are inducted into the college's Academy of Distinguished Alumni. In your programs, I encourage you to read the many accomplishments of these talented individuals. In our ceremony honoring them today, we'd like to have a little more fun, though, and reminisce about how things were in the past. I'm going to invite Dean Gunnick up to say a few words about past distinguished alumni members.
So one of the things I like to explain at the beginning of this ceremony is when you start something in 2013, which is when we started the Academy of Distinguished Alumni and Alumni Awards, there was a lot of history before that. So how do you start something in the history of a college that's over 100 years old? And so what we did to start is we had a cohort of people who were honorary doctorates from the College of Engineering over many, many years, and we invited them to be founding members of the Academy of Distinguished Alumni and set out letters and certificates. And there is one founding member here for sure. I have to be careful, I don't know if there's another one. And I would like Joel Long to please stand up and be recognized as a founding member. There are also several others, and I won't go try to introduce them individually because I know I'll miss someone. But if you were a prior inductee into the Academy of Distinguished Alumni in a prior year, would you please stand up and be recognized? Okay, so now we're ready to move on and recognize the 5 inductees of this year. Now, do we, okay. The year was 1986, and Corazon Aquino was the first female president of the Philippines and Time Magazine Woman of the Year. Intel began manufacturing its 386 microprocessor chip, and Halley's Comet was visible in the night sky. In 1986, Mikhail Gorbachev urged the spread of a glasnost, meaning openness, and Ferris Bueller took the day off. It was 1986, and John Carmody graduated from Montana State University with degrees in art history and electrical engineering. John, please come forward to receive your award.
This is just a great honor. Thank you very much, and I've enjoyed helping and serving here at the college. And just talking with Todd about some additional projects we're excited to get down and get some of the students working on. So thank you very much.
It was 1988. Nearly 80,000 acres, or 36% of Yellowstone National Park, was affected by wildfires. The first transatlantic fiber optic cable was laid and could carry 40,000 telephone calls at the same time. The Phantom of the Opera debuted on Broadway, and popular movies included Rain Man, Big, and Twins. It was 1988, and Doug Davis received a degree from Montana State University in Construction Engineering Technology. Doug, would you please come to the stage to receive your award?
thank you guys for bestowing this award on me. It's quite an honor. You get a little nervous when you're a graduate of Montana State University and the Dean of Engineering calls you. Could be good news or bad news, and this came out to be good news, but I want to thank you and thank my family for supporting me throughout the years and let me do the things that I do. But you know, it's that Bobcat pride, that institution. I met my wife here, my family's here. We're rooted to this family. My great-grandmother's people, Inukspikani, part of the Blackfeet tribe. We come from here. This is our home, and it's always good to be home. But it's the work we do is for service and out of love. And we're Bobcats, and it's that blue and gold that runs through your veins that makes you be an engineer. Take some ancient concepts that all of us, all of our peoples of the world, we're all related. We just apply today to solve problems and resolve things so we can live better today. And hopefully we'll leave the place a little bit better than we found it. But thank you. Appreciate it.
The year was 1989. A first-class stamp would have cost you 22 cents. The kids probably don't even know what a letter is. 80s slang include terms like gnarly, totally, and gag me with a spoon. Christine tells me we don't use those terms anymore. I'm puzzled. It was a year that saw the Berlin Wall come down and the Exxon Valdez ran aground in Prince William Sound, Alaska, spilling 11 million gallons of oil. It was 1989 and Tony Hagen graduated from Montana State University with a degree in mechanical engineering technology. Tony, please come forward and receive your award.
Thank you very much. First of all, thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. First and foremost, I just want to thank Montana State University, the College of Engineering, and really the Dean for this opportunity to serve Montana State. It's a dream, actually, to come and spend time serving this wonderful university, and I was lucky to get the opportunity from some of my colleagues who are here today, John Tubesing in the room, who had done that before me, and what an honor it is to receive this award. Besides the university, I think it's important to thank Boeing. Boeing's a big partner and a big recruit for this school and will continue to be. And I can't thank my company enough for finding me here, giving me the opportunity. I joked with some of the students earlier this week. I said I got an offer. It was like in December before I was graduating in March. And I didn't have any idea what job it was. It was just a short letter that had a description of some role in engineering, and I didn't really care because I was ready to go to work and earn a great living at Boeing. And they've given me tons and tons of opportunities, and I've taken advantage of those, and the degree I got here and the work ethic I learned here, not only in Montana, but at Montana State, helped me get there. So anyhow, Montana State, my company, and really my family. My mom and my dad, morally and financially, my dad's not with us anymore. Antone passed, but my mother, Patrona's here. Alicia is at the table there in the center with a lot of my other family members. My sister, Lourdes and Aaron. I'm gonna really go through all the names of the table that's here because this is a wonderful support system, and they have been there for me from day one. Riley and Jen, what are you? Anyhow, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law. I tease him a little bit because he's from that school that had that little star on it on the map this morning, but that's okay. I really appreciate you guys being here too. Last but not least, I mean, obviously Dan and Wendy, really appreciate the friends that came down and brought my mom down this morning from Great Falls. I really appreciate you doing that and being here. And last but not least, my lovely wife Molly, my son Tony, and our daughter Michaela, who couldn't be here due to travels in Peru, but they actually were with us every bit of the challenge as I grew through Boeing. We traveled the world, lived overseas for 12 years, and then came back home. And they had to put a lot of effort and energy into coping with that much change, and I really appreciate that because you guys have been there. And without your support, I couldn't have done any of this. So really, really appreciate that, and thank you very much. And then just one last thank you to Dean Gunnick. I really, really appreciate. I was thinking about it before this session, and when I think Doug was saying, like talking to the dean or who it was, but if you had to talk to the dean here, there was trouble, and that's how it was when I was here and graduated in '89. And I've talked to Dean Gunnick more than I talked to my mom and dad through college. So I think that's a pretty good sign of the way things have gone here and the place the university is in today and where they're going. I mean, it just puts my hair on my arm stands up when I think about where we're at today at this university and where we're going. Not just the College of Engineering, but the university as a whole. And it's something really to be proud of. So I'm a huge, huge Bobcat and remain proud of it, and will wave that flag for as long as I live. Thank you very much.
It was 1992. If you were hip, you would have been seen sporting Doc Martens, ripped jeans, and plaid flannel shirts. Interestingly enough, though, this photo I got from 2023. So Mac, you can still be cool. In 1992, the Cold War was declared over, Wayne's World hit the cinemas, and Jay Leno debuted on The Tonight Show. It was 1992, and Mac Long graduated from MSU with degrees in construction engineering technology and business. Mac, could you please come down and receive your award?
Thank you, everyone. We appreciate all the families coming and joining, clapping for us, helping us celebrate this honor. And it is an honor, and it's fun for me to be here, because as we talk about family, my dad was one of the founding members, like Dean Gunnick said, Brett said, so it's been an honor to be able, when I got the call, that, yes, I can follow my dad. So, and it's been something I've wanted to do my whole life. I mean, my dad got his first degree from Montana State College, and then he got his master's in civil engineering from Montana State University. I tried civil engineering, and after 3.5 years of barely getting through, I switched to business, got A's in business, loved it. Graduated in '86 with a business degree, and I could go be an assistant manager at Kmart. And so that didn't work for me, so I went back to work for the family company, found a wonderful partner at the R-Bar of all places here in Bozeman, and we got married in '90, and I was working for Dad. We had just paid a big road job down in Darby, and Dad said, well, go talk to Ted Lang, who was the dean of engineering, and next thing you know, I get a construction engineering degree and loved it. And again, back to family, I get a call. Keywood hired me. Sheridan one day, I got to go to Texas. I stopped at a payphone, called Karen. She said, did you get fired already? No, honey, we're going to Texas. Oh, we are? But again, that family, she's followed me to Texas. She's followed me to Wyoming. Dad supported me. My whole family supported me. And you can't do it alone. None of us do any of this alone. You do it in that community. And like you said, it is a community, and it's a community of both Montana, Montana State, our families, our cities, our nation. We are grateful and proud, and I am just blessed to be here and be part of this and say thank you. And so it is an honor. And with that, thank you, family. Love you guys.
The year was 2003. Arnold Schwarzenegger was elected governor of California, and the Concorde made its last commercial flight. The top movie of the year was The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. The Human Genome Project was successfully completed with 99% of the human genome sequenced to 99.99% accuracy. It was 2003, and Libby Solomon graduated from Montana State University with a degree in Industrial and Management Systems Engineering.
All right, I'm going to use assistance because I'm going on like 4 hours of sleep here. So, wow, thank you. I'm truly honored to be here today and be included in the impressive company of present and past distinguished alumni. I have to say, like others, when I got the voicemail from Dean Gunnick and it said, "Hey, Libby, if you get a chance, give me a call," award recipient was not the first thing that I thought of. Instead, I was like, oh my gosh, something has gone wrong with recruiting or the M&IE Industrial Advisory Board or funding for a grant proposal. And so when I called him back with some amount of concern and he informed me that I was going to be an award recipient, I got fairly emotional. And I think I even said that to him. And I'm not an on-the-spot crier. Ask my husband, that's just not really who I am. But I got emotional because I guess I never really saw my relationship with Montana State as something that was exceptional or unique. And I didn't see it that way because I was raised in a home by my parents who very much modeled and embodied the idea that you give back to the institutions and the communities that raised you so that they can continue to give back to others. And 2 full-time working professionals raising 2 daughters that were generally not trouble, they always found time to volunteer, whether it was Hawk Boosters or United Way or flagging for runners during a road race or adopting a block and picking up traffic or volunteering with their church. Giving back was just what you did. So for me to be recognized for something that is so core to who I am and such a personal value was really quite overwhelming. And I will say at this point that MSU really is core to who I am. I have a slight reputation at work of being very passionate about Montana State. Some may even say a little bit obsessive, and I've probably been accused more than a handful of times of trying to repopulate Keyport with bobcats. And I didn't realize when I graduated how well equipped that I would be, not only as an engineer, but also as a professional and ultimately a successful leader. But through my professional accomplishments and seeing the number and sheer number of bobcats successfully occupy leadership positions at Keyport, I've really come to recognize and now advocate for the quality of education and students that come from Montana State. It really is impressive. So thank you. I know that I wouldn't be here today without the foundation that Montana State has provided me. Special shout out to my husband and my daughter who know that my trips back to Bozeman are pretty much non-negotiable at this point. Couldn't do it without your support and love. And as a born and raised Montana girl, this is really, really cool. So thank you. I'm truly honored.
That ends this year's class of distinguished alumni. We now move on to recognize our distinguished faculty awardee for today. The Distinguished Faculty Award recognizes a former engineering college faculty member who has distinguished himself or herself by meritorious service to the college in the areas of teaching, research, leadership, achievement, mentoring, and outreach. The award recognizes one exceptionally accomplished faculty member and highlights the contributions that they have made to the college over the years. It was 1995. Seinfeld was the most popular show on TV, and the Comet Hale-Bopp was discovered. Yahoo, eBay, and Craigslist all got their starts, and 19-year-old Tiger Woods won the U.S. Amateur Championship Golf Tournament. I was astounded with how young he looks. It was 1995, and Dr. Vic Cundy came to Montana State University as a department head of mechanical and industrial engineering. Dr. Cundy, could you please come forward to receive your award? Should we bring it to him?
So while Vic is on his way up, I have to confess, when I came to Montana State in 2002, Vic was the chair of the search committee that hired me. So he's proof that if you hang around long enough, everybody will forget your mistakes.
Well, I'm certainly honored to get this award. I had no clue it was even coming or being thought about, but there's three groups or people or whatever that I'd like to thank. And first, it's my family. They're all sitting at this table right up here. You might want to raise your hands, guys. That's all my 3 kids and all my 6 grandchildren, and they've been a tremendous support to me while I was faculty member up here. The other person I'd like to recognize is Dean Gunnick. As he said, I was part of the process of hiring him, and I certainly don't think we went wrong. I think that was a good man for our college and university. And finally, I'd like to thank Norm Asbjornson. I went to work with Norm Asbjornson in the early 2000s. He was a member of the college advisory committee, and we met. He being involved in air conditioning and me being involved in kind of the thermal side of mechanical engineering, we immediately hit it off. And we had a research program going with Norm for many, many years. And I'd like to have Kevin Amende stand up. Can you just stand up there, Kevin? Kevin was my graduate student and got involved in that program with Norm and I, and has really gone on to just do great things. It's just amazing what he's done, and he's telling me over there at the table that he's going up to Helena to do some kind of something for Norm now that he's kind of less able to travel. So anyway, I appreciate the award. I appreciate everybody that had anything to do with it, and thank you. Oh, and I want to, Libby. Libby is, I remember you funding many of our senior projects, and you just don't know, all you guys probably do know, but the support you get for senior projects is just wonderful. It really helps the students out, us out, everybody out. So thank you guys all very much. Nice to meet all of you.
Okay, so now we're to the part of the program where I try to share some remarks. You'll learn a little bit more about me, especially some of you who have been here for many years, listening to me talk on about things that I was thinking about at that particular point in time. Last year you got a reprieve. I had returned from a trip to Germany, and I got something that wasn't the COVID, but it made me feel very bad. And so I wasn't prepared to give remarks there, so everybody got a reprieve. So this year, I'm going to share a slide with you to start this. So that young man is me. A few years ago, a few decades ago, and my grandma. And every boy should deserve a grandma like that, right? So at that time in my life, my mother would tell me that I declared that I was going to be the only cowboy in whole Iowa, which is where I grew up. Apparently I was a singing cowboy too. And I had to share one of my 6-shooters with Grandma. Had 2 horses. I was doing very well, obviously, 2 horses. Had 2 hats. How could a boy have better purpose and sense of belonging at that point in life to have a grandma like that? So purpose and belonging is what I want to talk about today. And we have, as a university, found ourselves focused on that recently as we strive to do a better job of educating the students that come to our door. We want to retain students at a higher level. We want to graduate students at a higher level. And we know from people that research those sorts of things that students that have a sense of purpose and a sense of belonging succeed. And if they're missing any of those, or if they spend too much time asking, why am I here? Or I don't belong here, their probability of success goes down dramatically. Okay, so we have a number of programs. Those of you at breakfast this morning, you heard about Hilleman Scholars, which is a story of success from Maurice Hilleman, who grew up in Miles City, aspired to work at the local J.C. Penney store, but got the opportunity to go to Montana State University and became perhaps the most renowned vaccinologist that's ever lived. And so all of the vaccines we give our kids, most of those were invented by Maurice Hilleman. And he would have been content to work at J.C. Penney. I'll use another local example of the impact of an education at a land-grant university with our college namesake in Norm Asbjornson. I like to share Norm's story. It's a very powerful one. Norm grew up in Winifred, Montana, right in the center of the state, thriving metropolis of 180 people to this day. His father was a farm implement dealer. Norm, when he tells the story of his first visit to Montana State College, was for 1 year. Depending upon how forthright he is, he either ran out of money or he didn't do very well. I suspect both was true. So he went into the service. And he spent some time in the Army in North Korea after the war on the DMZ, came back to Montana State University and graduated in 1960. And his career took him to many corporate places, and eventually he founded a company called AON Corporation, AAON. Did very well, and you know kind of the end of that story about how generous he was to us. A land-grant university had a similar impact on my life. Cowboy didn't end up being the career path, but I grew up in Iowa, went to a land-grant university. My father was an Army sergeant, so he didn't write a very big check when I left home. When I went to the university, my mom dropped me off. Everything I had fit in the trunk of her car. Was easy to unload. And I went to Iowa State University, got a bachelor's degree in construction engineering technology, and there weren't any jobs. 1981, one of our recessions. Those of us who are my age lived for several of them. And so I spent the summer doing different things. The gentleman named Jack Mickle was his name. I had in class when I was an undergraduate student and ran into him in my hometown in Boone, Iowa at that point. And he asked me what you're doing this summer. I said, I'm not doing anything, Jack. And he said, well, you want to work for me for a while. So I roofed his house with his son, Tommy. Poured a patio for him. His mom had this tree that needed to come down, and we spent a couple months that summer working for Jack. And we got to the end of the summer, and Jack says, I don't have any work for you, Brett. What are you going to do now? And I said, Jack, I really don't have a plan. And he offered me the opportunity to return to school and get a graduate degree. And so I've described Jack, and I was not a stellar student as a baccalaureate student. I was smack dab in the middle of my class. I played a lot of basketball, drank a lot of beer, tried to get women to love me. I wasn't very successful at that point. And Jack was an instrumental person because he believed more in me at a time when I lacked that same belief in myself, and he gave me an opportunity. He gave me a purpose, and he gave me a sense of belonging. So I think about that purpose and sense of belonging, and I believe it applies to institutions as well. Right? We're talking about the institution of Montana State University, and people often ask me things like, what is President Cruzado's special sauce? Why is this university doing so well? And that translates into that sense of purpose. Everybody at this school understands we are a land-grant university. We are here because in the middle of the Civil War, an act sponsored by Morrill caused us to become a university with the charge of educating the sons and daughters of the working class. So we were supposed to be a different university. We're not supposed to be a selective university. We were supposed to be an inclusive university. And we're on that journey today. We continue to improve it. As I reflect on what we've done in terms of access in the College of Engineering today, we have more women studying engineering in the college today than we did 10 years ago. We're a more welcoming place for minority students than we were 10 years ago. And we have fully embraced the vision that she has articulated for this university, which is one of access with excellence. And sometimes that means you have to treat and do things for some people that you don't do for everyone. I reflect on, I've got 3 daughters. I've got 3 daughters. And at a family conversation, it was probably Thanksgiving or maybe it was Christmas, something. We're all around the table. And Mother's there too. And they were all adults by this time, and they're talking about their youth. And they were talking about, who does Dad love most? Who has children? Okay. Who has had that conversation with their children? Yeah. Who does Dad love most? And they're going back and forth, and it would move around. It was a daughter number 1, daughter number 2, or daughter number 3, and then finally daughter number 1 and number 3 gathered up on number 2, and they declared that Dad loved daughter number 2 the most, and here were the reasons why. Here's all the things that Dad had done for daughter number 2. And I'm sitting listening to this, And realizing at that particular time, yeah, I had paid a lot of attention to daughter number 2. And I made this statement, says, yeah, you're right. Daughter number 2 was loved the most because she needed the most love. She was the one that struggled the most. And we probably all had those experiences with our children, right? They don't always all need the same amount of love, but there's always some point where each child is going to need some love, is going to need a handout that's going to reach out and pull them up. And it makes no sense whatsoever to say to daughter number 2, I'm sorry your allocation of love is gone today. I know you need a little bit more, but I have to make sure it's equal. So you give that daughter that needs a little bit more love, the little bit more love she needs to succeed at that point in time. A lot of times right now, words that we gather around things like equity, diversity, and inclusion get weaponized. And what we thought were safe words to use, things that we should be able to do to help people, all of a sudden people are attacking for whatever reason. And I've had conversations with a lot of my staff, particularly my staff that work with underrepresented groups on campus, and they go, well, what do we do when the words that we were using now are turned around and used to attack what we're doing? That's easy. You just use different words. Just use different words and keep doing the same thing because it's the right thing to do. So that's what we're about in the College of Engineering. We're about providing the assistance to students that need it the most, when they need it the most, because that's how we can help them advance and get degrees that will advance them in life and help make sure they have purpose and belonging. So we're going to close a little bit, and that's kind of a little heavy for a guy standing in a silly suit. But I am a Bobcat. I'm a little different this room. I am not a Bobcat by birth. I'm not an alumnus. But I am a Bobcat. I identify with this university more than any other. And I think those of you here do too. So we're gonna play a little game. We're gonna talk a little bit more about, if we're not careful, when we talk about challenging subjects, there are lots of them in society, okay? And we have a tendency right now, and some of our leadership actually supports that tendency, okay, to run to the parts of the subject where we know we're going to disagree and start talking about that and fighting about that. We do that with all sorts of subjects right now. We let the polar extremes drive the discussion to points of disagreement. We don't have to do that. There is plenty that we all agree upon. The challenge is we just have to go to that center as a group and decide, it doesn't matter that we disagree over here. It doesn't matter that we disagree over here. Because here's where we agree, and if we work together in the areas where we agree, we can make life better for other people. And that's what we should do as humans. So my question is, now, the boy there, if you think that all our children should have the same sort of opportunities for education that boy had, stand up. Do you agree with that statement? Every child ought to have opportunities like I had in life, or you had in life. Everybody standing. We all agree. We can do that together. Christine? And since we're all Bobcats, we can do this together too.
Stand up and cheer, cheer on your loud for dear Montana. For today we raise the blue and gold to a victorious. A sturdy band now is fighting, and we are sure to win the fray. We got the band, we're here to win. This is dear Montana State. B-O-B-C-A-T-S. Go Cats go! B-O-B-C-A-T-S. Go Cats go!
So we have refreshments in the back, so some snacks and some drinks, so please do that. Share your experiences and spend a little time to do. I want to remind everybody a little later this afternoon, we do have an open house for Roberts Hall. 100 years old this year, and so if you want to go relive your experiences at Roberts Hall, we have some things on display for you there. Well, they're actually up now, so you can actually go over anytime. But formally at 4:30. Thank you very much for coming.